Connor's not here.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It is Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. This is the ANC 5D's Zoning and Development Committee meeting. My name is Kevin Horgan, co-chair. We can just quickly go around the room. Folks want to introduce themselves?
Hello. Oh, sorry. I'm Commissioner Hector Arbuckle, 5D01 Union Market.
I'm Anna Roblin. I'm the commissioner for this project. It's SMD, the 1124 to 1126 Florida.
Hi, I'm Skip Keats. I'm a member of the committee.
Marshall Morrison. I'm a member of the zoning committee as well.
Hey, Francis Rogers, would you like to introduce yourself? Not required. Hey, Eric, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Eric DeBear. I'm the land use counsel for the applicant in the modification case that Commissioner Roblin mentioned, which is 1124 to 1126 Florida Ave.
Right. So everybody, we have two items on the hello. Hi, Francis.
Hello, Francis Rogers. I was muted.
All right, no worries.
I'm sorry. I was talking, but I was muted. I'm just I'm a neighbor in 5D03. So.
Great.
I'm on Morris Street behind Florida Avenue.
Okay. And we did have one more neighbor, Emily Austin. I think is Emily Austin a neighbor, or is she with the development team? She is vanished. She was. Oh, she's one of your neighbors.
Yeah, she's right next door to the development. It has been helping them out.
Okay.
She disappeared.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, this is why we're recording the meeting. Sometimes people have technical difficulties, and it'll be recorded. Hopefully she shows up again. Anyway, continue with the meeting. We have two items on the agenda tonight. One of them, which we'll kick off first because it won't take that long, is an update on 840 18th Street Northeast. And the second is going to have a presentation for BZA case 18987B for a, I forget the term, but basically it's a modification of significance for a project that's currently under construction at 1124 to 1126 Florida Ave Northeast. And we've got the Developers Council here, Eric DeBears, and he's going to give a presentation on describe just what they're proposing to do, how that differs from what's currently approved. So Skip, I'm going to let you kick it off. I'm going to screen share the pictures that you sent to me so that it is to give you some, this is annoying. Oh, here it is. I can't share my screen, but I can share these pictures. So.
Okay. 840 18th Street Northeast, which is up the corner of I Street and 18th. About 2 years ago, the building got torn down. You can see where it's half a building left. And they started excavating. And then I think what happened is the developer ran out of money before they finished the excavation of the lot. And so they filled it back in. They've tried to auction the lot. I don't know where that stands, but the big problem is it has become a dump. I have repeatedly called 311 for DOB to look at it and contact the owner or whatever they have to do to get this cleaned up. It is getting worse by the week. There are now mattresses lying there, screen window stuff has been tossed, there's broken glass, there's rats in daylight. It's an eyesore. It's open, as you could see from one of the photographs. Anyone can wander in there now. You have more and more trash bags showing up. I've seen kids in there. It is dangerous. And I also know the people building the building that you can see going up there in the white behind there, they're none too happy about it either. But I don't know what we need to do to light a fire under DOB, but something has to be done.
So I was just looking up, so I was curious. Part of the reason it may not be going anywhere is and when you look it up on the zoning map, it does not have an address. And I try and type in the square and lot on there, and it gets me nowhere on the real property search, which
Well, it used to be 840 18th Street, I can tell you that.
yeah, and the square is 4494, and it should be lot 0061, but I can't seem to. The real property search doesn't find that square and lot, which it doesn't help. I'm assuming this may be part of the issue we're running into, where if we go to the vacant lot search, I mean, it's a tax thing, so if it can't find it, I don't know what happens on their side.
Interesting.
But it's getting worse and worse and worse by the week.
So, Commissioner Roblin, do you have a point of contact in the Department of Buildings? Because I reported them on the vacant blighted property website. I got a notification that somebody was going to inspect it within 3 days. I know Skip Keats submitted a 311 request for it to also be inspected. Just, like if the developer can't do anything, it needs to get taxed so high that they sell it, and so another developer who actually has the resources can turn this site into homes
and what was supposed to go there, I might add, what was supposed to go there was a 7-story building with a penthouse.
This website,
although I never saw plans for it.
So
something like 40 some units, 50 units, something like that. It was a large number for the size of the lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely contact my contact at DOB, Delania, I forgot her last name. I have her email address. Do you want her email address, Skip? I mean, I'll definitely contact her, but you could contact her as
You
well.
may have more luck because you're an elected official.
Yeah, I'll put you on the CCs.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
But this is a growing problem in our little section. Carver Langston has a growing problem along this line. Half-finished buildings and other things, and it's got to stop.
Yeah.
But this particular property is actually open. Kids can get in there, and there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. That fence is practically falling in now.
And it's
you can
Commissioner.
see it in the photos, and it's even worse now from when I took the photos.
Skip, is this under Commissioner McCollum or Commissioner
Yes,
Henderson?
it's definitely Commissioner McCollum. I've emailed him, but I haven't been able to reach him for a couple of weeks. I don't know precisely what's going on.
Okay.
But I mean, he's had some other issues. I know that, in the sense of other issues in his SMD. So
I think I can put, and I'll put Mr. McCollum in the CCs as well.
If you include me in the CCs, that'd be great as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah,
it's just something has to be done, and I just find it infuriating that the city doesn't seem to be concerned, because kids could get hurt. To say nothing else of what else might be going on there.
Yeah.
And especially after dark.
Well, if it is a nuisance property, it's a lot more likely they'll do something about it. A nuisance property means they're either doing drugs or prostitution or some things like that there.
I went by one night coming home from something, and I thought I saw people sort of trying to sleep on top of the dirt there. But it was dim because the street light is hidden by trees. But there was something, it was certainly an anomaly that attracted the attention of my eye, but I couldn't tell you precisely what it was, if you get what I'm getting at. But I think it may have been someone trying to sleep there. And again, that's not a safe place to do that.
Okay, so I think we've
Ground
got
is
some
unstable.
actions. I think we've got some actions, and Commissioner Roblin is going to reach out to our contacts at DOB, and hopefully we can get some progress between now and the next zoning meeting. Okay, is there any other general, before we move on to the BZA case presentation, does anyone have any other general issues they wanted to raise?
No, I just want to say thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Eric. Eric, I'm going to promote you to a co-host so you can share your screen.
I think I have that ability already. Let me see.
Probably not. You will now, though.
How about now?
Oh, you do. Okay.
There you go.
All right. We can
I
see
do not lie. Thank you, Mr. Horgan. I appreciate it. And I also wanted to say again, thank you for postponing this from last week. That was greatly appreciated. So again, so as I mentioned before, this case, I am a land use counsel for the applicant, who is K2 LLC. They are the owner of this property at 1124 to 1126 Florida Avenue. This is what's called a modification of significance. It is when you ask the BZA to modify the plans for a previous.
You may want to put this into presentation mode. It'll make it easier for everyone to see.
Okay, let me try. How's that? Better? Worse?
We're
Nothing?
still seeing the panels on the side.
Yeah, if you put it into presentation mode, then the thing, the top all goes away. It should be, which one's triggers this?
It's the icon next to the slider, zoom slider at the lower right.
The icon next to the zoom slider.
At the lower right of your window. You know what it could be is and if there's an icon to your left.
Oh, I see.
That right.
Slideshow or?
Yes. Yeah. Hit that. That normally works. Okay.
Can you see my screen?
We can.
Yeah, we can see it. It's just
okay.
It's probably when you shared the screen, it probably just shared this screen, and it actually. Sorry, it shared this window instead of the screen.
Let me. I still don't have a hang of this. Let me. Yeah, I don't think I can share my. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to go with this.
Sure thing.
Okay. So the property, as many of you may know, is located with frontage on Florida Avenue, with an alley to the rear, then Moore Street to the north. The property is located in the MU4 zone, and it is currently under construction, but has been, I know, a big hole in the ground for a while now. So to refresh everyone's recollection, this is actually quite an older BZA, original BZA approval under 18987. It was approved for a 5-story, 46-unit building. In that approval, our client obtained relief for floor area ratio and rear yard. The ANC 5D supported the case at the time. And again, as I mentioned, the project's currently under construction. I see that Commissioner Arbuckle has a hand raised. I don't know if he has a preliminary question.
Mr. DeBear, are you moving through the slideshow?
Yes. Are you guys not seeing it?
I'm not seeing it.
Huh.
It's still on the first page.
That's really odd.
As I said, that could be because you're not in presentation mode.
Okay.
So what I would recommend you do, try to put it into presentation mode, then maybe try to share it.
Okay. You
could also try emailing it, Eric, to me, and maybe I'll have more luck over here. And I can just. Why don't
I convert it to a PDF and.
Perfect. That'll work. Yep.
Apologies to everyone. I feel like at this point we should I should be able to figure out.
While we're doing that, because I missed introduction, this is Emily Austin, and I live at 1128 Florida Avenue. So I'm right next door. So just wanted to let my presence be known.
Hi, Emily. Thank you so much.
Hi, Emily. Thank you.
Here.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, we can see.
Can everyone see the
Much
zoning
better.
map?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it works.
Thank you. Okay, so I already gave my spiel, but it's in the MU4 zone, fronts on Florida. It's a big hole in the ground currently, but it's under construction. Here's the slide giving a summary of the original approval. Again, it was approved for a 46-unit, 5-story apartment building. Relief was obtained for floor area ratio in rear yard, and ANC supported it at that time. Under this modification request, which is what we recently filed with the board, we would be asking to add a zoning compliant habitable penthouse. That habitable penthouse would be a height just under 12 feet, which is permitted, with the required 1-to-1 setbacks. And actually the rear of the penthouse facing the alley and Moore Street would actually have a setback of almost double of what is required. This would result in 2 new units to increase the total unit count from 46 to 48. It would also allow for 2 duplex units from the 5th floor that would have a second level on the penthouse level. So Mr. Horgan had requested that I include the DOB stamped plans. So obviously we had a original architectural set that was submitted and approved by the BZA. And as I mentioned, the project's under construction, which means there's a building permit. So these are the plans that were approved with the permit. You can see the general site plan here. And then I have included the southern elevation, which is what was approved to face Florida Avenue. And in the bottom right, you can see a snip from the BZA plan set that was approved, just to provide some color. And here is the northern elevation facing the alley. You can see actually there on the left is an entrance to a below-grade parking garage. And so what's being proposed here is, as I mentioned, a new penthouse level. This is the penthouse floor plan. And again, I think the only thing of note is that it will meet the required... I'm getting a little feedback. It will meet the required setbacks and be a by right penthouse. So if approved, this is the changes that would be from the original. As you can see, again, just a new penthouse level. This is the elevation facing Florida Avenue, and then you can see a comparison. So nothing too fancy here. Again, just a new penthouse level. And then this is the proposed elevation along the alley and a comparison. So just one additional penthouse level. And before turning it over to questions, I again wanted to note the modifications needed because we are changing BZA approved plans. And I'd imagine the question will come up, well, if it's a by right penthouse, why do you need to go back to the BZA? Well, there's a regulatory scheme where if you've had a prior case approved and you make a certain level of changes, even if those changes are by right under zoning, you still have to go back. So we are going back to the BZA. The scope of the hearing will be limited to the modification and not the original approval or decision. And we have our hearing in late July, on July 24th. So with that, I'm happy to scroll back to any images if people have questions, or just answer questions generally.
Eric, I had one question. So the building currently has, the currently approved plans was for 46 units. Was there anything at the penthouse, at the top? Was there a rooftop deck in the plans? Was there anything up there right now?
No.
Okay.
I would have to take a look, Kevin, but I believe it was probably just mechanical is my guess. But no, not a rooftop deck. They didn't show any guardrails or anything. So I don't think it was an accessible area for people.
Okay. Yeah, no, something in my mind that, I mean, I'm all about you guys building more units, but the thought was in the back of my mind, if there was a rooftop amenity that was about to be removed from my 46 future neighbors, then I might struggle to approve 2 additional units when 46 neighbors were about to lose the rooftop deck. But if there is no rooftop deck currently planned, then it really is just a additional construction. I see Emily's got her hand raised.
Hello. So my husband and I have been dealing with this property since 2015. And so I just need to know, what do you need? We just need this to get done. So what do you need from us being the next door neighbors in order to just approve this and get this moving?
Your support for this modification would be great. I can tell you that I understand it has been a long time coming. I think a lot of the delay was due to COVID. There were some issues before that too, but then COVID did not help. I know, I speak with my client all the time, and I know it's under construction and they're moving forward finally. So, at this point, getting approved for this modification would be wonderful and would keep that momentum going, Emily.
Okay, so in 2015, for the last plan, my husband and I wrote a letter. So I guess that's what I'm asking. Do you need a letter from us as next door neighbors in a letter of support in order for this to move forward? Because for me, an extra penthouse level does not matter. We have been doing this.
No, a letter would be wonderful, and I can send you a template, or you can just write something into the BZA, but that would be great. And it's going to go to a hearing in July, no matter, but whenever you have support from direct neighbors, that's always positive.
Okay, yes, if you could send me a template, and then I'll write something with my own little flair, but I'll look at what a template look at.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And Mahari told me he saw you recently, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I think I saw another hand up there.
Hey, Skip, what's up?
Hi, I have a few questions regarding the current allowed top floor and the one you're now requesting to put on the penthouse. The questions are this: what type of units will be up in the top? You said that 2 will be duplexes, so I'm assuming they'll be from the floor below, which will mean that they will have internal staircases. What type of alterations are being done on the top floor to allow the other 2 units that are not duplexes to be accessed? And from what I'm seeing, there looks like there will be 1 bedrooms. Is that correct?
I am looking. So
actually, maybe 2 bedroom.
I think those are 2 bedroom.
And there's a staircase that goes up to them.
Yes.
Is there a lift?
There's a staircase. It looks like it looks like there's a shared hallway here in the middle of the screen.
And there is an elevator. Okay.
From a stairwell. There's also an elevator here, but then a hallway running down here. So that provides, it looks like a second egress stairwell is probably required, is my guess as well.
So you're basically, the staircases that were already required, they're just having another level put on them. I see the internal staircases. So the ones where it's just the top, they're getting what looks like an additional bedroom, maybe?
Yep, an additional bedroom, and obviously a walkout area here.
What do they have down below? Would they become 3-bedroom units?
I don't know. I'm trying to think if I would have to look back at the floor plans that were originally approved. I was only provided what was in the scope of this, which is really just the new penthouse.
Okay. I'm asking because if it's providing, say, 3-bedroom units, that will be something that we would be very interested in.
Is a positive, yeah. I can get that answer to you. I can send it to Kevin. I'll write that down and I can send it to you.
Is one of the things that we do not have in this area, one of the problems with a lot of what's being built is they're not building what you might think of as family units, or where they are building them, the ridiculously small family units, in the sense of squeezing 4 bedrooms into 900 square feet. I'm sorry, that doesn't work very well. But
I understand.
so what is the central area there on either side of the stairwells?
Those are courts. So I'm trying to find the best image
Are
where
they
you
providing
can
light
see
wells
that.
to the buildings, to the areas?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You can't. These are both front and side elevations, but yeah, it's a court that provides light to these interior units.
Okay. And do the other units have balconies, or will these be the only ones with outdoor space?
I don't believe that the other units have balconies. It looks like there might be Juliet
They
balconies.
have Juliets. Okay.
Yeah,
Whereas the penthouse level
but
will
on the
have
rear,
actual
it doesn't
outdoor
look like
area.
there's any.
Okay. Whereas the penthouse level will have actual outdoor space. Okay. Oh, and what's the balcony on the top there above the penthouse? Is that for utilities? Or is
Yes,
that
that's
usable
probably
space?
intended as a screen for mechanical, because the
Okay.
mechanical was on the roof, and then obviously you move that one level up with the new penthouse.
Will the changes result in any other types of changes to the building below? I mean, I doubt the floor will change footings or whatnot, but will it require additional weight for, say, heat pump
No,
systems or anything like that?
he already obtained a building permit for the 5-story building below, and this is just would be a modification of that building permit to add the one level, but I don't believe there'd be any other changes that are needed.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Skip, Exhibit 7 of the case record has some good drawings. Let me just share my screen. Let me share.
Yeah, those might be the original plans, Kevin. So that would be.
Oh, these are the original. So this.
Oh no, those are the new plans. Those are the new
Okay.
plans.
So what I was saying is it actually lists here. It says that penthouse 01 is a 2-bedroom, penthouse 02 is a 2-bedroom. So I see. Now, were these the units that were going to be 2 levels, or is that?
No,
I
it's the
think that's
ones on the
lower
bottom.
ones here.
The ones at the bottom. Okay, so this is an extra bedroom at the top level, an extra bedroom. I don't think the exhibit gives us the. It would be handy because I looked through this. This gives us the penthouse. If we had the layout for the floor below and then the typical layout, because obviously, like, this is going to be a unique layout because it's also set back. But then I assume the second, third, and fourth are probably all identical layouts. First floor is
Right.
probably something unique.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and I can pull that from the approved permit plan set. I could share my screen and show you. Unfortunately,
Because you would be inserting staircases into the units that are now going to have their duplexes.
correct.
So that would be useful to see where the staircase goes in and how it changes the unit.
Yep, I just need to pull it, but I can do that and circulate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Any other questions that folks have? Commissioner Roblin? Commissioner Arbuckle?
I mean, this looks great to me. I know there was one neighbor who was concerned about his I guess the son. Um, I don't know if there are I mean, so it's I guess it'd be interesting. Do you have any like a 3D model rendering?
Actually, yes, I do.
Oh, perfect.
So, okay, look, quick disclaimer. I'm not an architect and I take no responsibility for the accuracy of these drawings, but I did do a SketchUp model that basically shows there are some neighbors whose backyards are on Moore Street. And let me share the model.
And while Kevin is sharing, I mean, we met with Connor Gleason
That's the one.
just to discuss. And, you know, I mean, I think he understands, you know, let me say this. I get that if your backyard is staring at a hole and then all of a sudden a new building's going to come up, it's going to be jarring. I would like to say, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, that he understands that, you know, the new level, which is the only thing we're asking for, is permitted, but only because we have previously been approved for the BZA, we have to go back. So that's all I can kind of say. And I'm hopeful that we can kind of resolve his questions offline, but I've been in touch with him several times.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, I think definitely we should go over all the issues that Connor is worried about in the video so he can watch it.
Yeah.
Kevin?
And I basically made this model for
Mhm.
Connor because he expressed concern about his backyard. And my gut was that the penthouse wasn't going to make any difference because of the setback. And actually, that's what the model that's actually what the model shows. So I have some views here, but, you know, which are actually the view from Connor's porch, his back porch here. So, for instance, at March 21st, this is what, you know, Connor's going to see from his house. There's a new building going up here, and you can just barely see the penthouse.
Okay.
And this is, you know, at noon at March 21st. You see the shadows here in his yard are just from the fence. At 3 o'clock, there's some additional shadow, and I'm just going to use the slider here to advance the time. But this isn't, you know, in March. But you're actually not seeing. I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
And that shadow might also just be from the building itself, not the penthouse.
You
can
penthouse
see.
You can see the
this
penthouse
actually is the
hasn't
building.
cast any
And
shadow
I'm going to go to an extreme case. Let me just put in where you okay. Do you see this small little bump here? That's the effect of the penthouse. Basically, the entire shadow, 99% of the shadow is from the approved building plans and will be there regardless. So the penthouse really isn't doing anything. Like it's like right now, there's no, you can even see on the left-hand side of the screen, the penthouse shadow is only falling in its own building. And this is only occurring during a few months, like basically the deep winter months, just barely. And honestly, this is completely negligible. If you're, you know, let's go to, you know, July 31st, I need to fix the UTC for summertime. But here, you know, in the summer months, like he's not even going to get his, this back area here is about 22 feet. I noticed, I walked down this alley tonight, and the last 22 feet of all of these neighbors' homes are parking pads or garages. So, you know, for neighbors who are concerned about their garden plots being shaded, this building in the summer months is not even going to cause any shade on their gardens. The only shade is actually coming from their own fences.
On Moore Street, I'm losing all of my.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be great for you. And I think
but we've already dealt with that. But yeah, if you do that, I would love to see this model for my house because I'm planning. I'm a big gardener, and I've been preparing for the worst. This is like my last hurrah for my garden this summer.
Emily, if you reach out to me, we can just offline. I can go through all the examples here, and you can see what the impact's going to be. Just, you know, from the matter of right. But yeah, I mean, it's going to have an impact, but it's, you know, the impact is a lot better than having what we infamously called the pit, you know, with the mosquitoes. So
yeah, I'm happy to see this move forward. It's been a very long 9 years, and for the gentleman that was talking about the property earlier, like we were there where you're at, like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And so we just need to move forward. So I'm not concerned about the garden. So
yeah, this is the view from Connor Gleason's porch here.
May I interrupt one moment for the commissioners? Sure. I don't know what's going on, but there's a helicopter circling in the air above me.
Oh, the noise canceling is doing a good job. Are you safe? I can see
him. He's a little south I'm betting there's something going on in Benning or just over it again.
Okay.
Just FYI for the two commissioners on the call.
Yeah.
Sorry
Thanks,
to
Skip.
interrupt. Please
Well,
continue.
I hope you're safe. So again, this is a June. This is a summer solstice, right? And you can see from sunrise. Oops, I need to change this. The ETC minus for the summer. The shadows are mostly caused by the people's own fences. Now, as you get into like the the winter, let's say March, there will be some shadows from the building, but that's from the building. From all of those shadows are actually from the building. The penthouse actually doesn't even come into play here, and so Commissioner Roblin, if any of the neighbors here have any concerns that the penthouse is causing anything, I can prove to them it's really not. And, so I would hope they would support the building. That's why I went to the effort of creating this model is I don't want them to think the penthouse is something they should oppose. It's more units. I'm actually very impressed with the building design, the fact that there's a lot of developers, don't want to go to the expense of including parking. And in this instance, they've actually included there's a ramp here and it goes down and there's a lot of parking spots in this building and there's some additional.
I think he has upwards of 30 parking spots, something close to that, which is way, way beyond what's required.
That is very rare and I think very appreciated because I know a lot of the neighbors here are going to be worried about will parking get more difficult? And I think most of the neighbors here will gladly park off street on, and sometimes, even just having the additional traffic coming down the alley all the time, that also actually has the impact of people won't hang out in the alley and do illegal things when there's a lot of when you increase the traffic in the alley. So I think there's going to be another little positive benefit there. So.
And there's only been Connor and then Emily and Curtis who have gotten back to me at all about this. I put out a lot of flyers. There's no one else that ever contacted me about it at all. So, I mean, I don't know if I should knock on doors and ask for a letter of support if nobody contacted me. I don't know. But it seems like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, this project seems to me like something that we should be supporting. So, I mean, unless Connor has some heartburn over this, and if you want to reach out to him, and I can walk him through the model as well, but I think at this point it's more so the next the next ANC meeting is in June, right? I know you guys you're off in July, so I think the goal is Eric's going to want to be on the June ANC agenda for support. So. What I'll try to do is after this meeting is over, I'll send out some minutes, a link to the Zoom meeting. So hopefully all the ANC commissioners will have watched this ahead of time, understand the impact, and I'll let you, the commissioners, chat with the other commissioners in the background. I would hope this wouldn't require, part of the reasons we do these zoning committee meetings is so, developers can have a 30, 45-minute discussion here. So it doesn't cause the ANC meetings to run until 10:30 at night. Like if this is something where, if you guys actually think this is an absolute slam dunk, you might even want to put it on the consent calendar. So just something to think about. But I would hope it wouldn't require a lengthy presentation. Hey, Skip, what's up?
Just a curious question. And Mr. DeBeer may or may not be able to answer this. Is this building intended to be condo or apartments?
It's actually this came up with when we met with Connor. This is going to be condos.
Good. Are there any should we say affordable condos in the building?
Yeah, I mean he's required. My client, I should say, he is required to meet inclusionary zoning. I don't know exactly what the yield is in terms of number of units, but he'll be complying with that, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's either 8 or 10% of gross floor area.
10%, 10% with
5 units, something like that.
Well, no, because this building would take it up to 48, correct?
Yeah.
That would mean somewhere between probably 4 to 5 of the units would be inclusionary zoning. That's good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be something that's, Eric, if you're giving a presentation to the ANC next month, or actually when you're giving a presentation, if you can just tell them that, if your first slide is a real quick top level, this is the number of units, number of parking spaces provided, number of IZ units. People like to know that.
Okay.
I know the ANC commissioners like to know that.
That's a big selling point, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'd love to know how many.
Okay.
And also the question I had about whether the adding of those duplexes would result in 3-bedroom units, because if it does,
I will get back to you on that.
that also helps.
Yeah. Yeah, it does,
Yeah.
because we want to see more affordability, as much affordability as possible.
Yeah, there wasn't any lettering. I tried zooming in to see on the plans if it called out, 3BR, and there's actually some lettering over it. I can't make out what it's meant to say. So that's the only other item we have on we don't have anything else on the agenda tonight. Do we have any final questions for Eric before we let him go? So, Emily's got her hand. Hi, Emily. What's up?
Potential end date, potential completion date.
Okay.
I would have to ask my client, Emily.
Okay.
I will when I email you with a sample letter, I will ask him and I will send that answer. I would say a standard building, once foundations poured, it should be another year maybe. A building of this size, but I will get that answer from him.
Okay, great. Thank you. I meant to ask him. I think he's told my husband, but like I said, it's been a very, very tumultuous 9 years with this property next door.
Yeah.
So.
I do have one final question, and you may or may not be able to answer it, but it's regarding what it will look like from the street. We saw the drawings, but of course they're black and white. How is it going to be faced in brick or what?
Yeah, let me very briefly, because I had been asked to include the permit plan set, which is in black and white, but
I'm curious because a lot of the buildings going up around here have these very weird checkerboard patterns on them, which I personally don't think are going to age well, whereas brick or something of that ilk tends to look nicer longer. It will have brick of some form. Okay.
So this bottom image, if you all can see it, is from the original approved BZA set. So it's going to look something along those lines.
Good. Is it retail on the first floor?
Nope, it's all residential.
All residential. So that's going to have a different type of facing as well as the top 2 floors. Okay. Yeah, that's from an aesthetic point of view, that looks very nice. I mean, some of the things I've been seeing going up, it's like, really? So that's why I was curious. Thank you.
No problem.
And I it doesn't quite see it there, but I think there's also some setbacks in the front facade that mimics how on Florida Ave some of the houses actually have some areaway projections. So it does seem like the architect was really trying to make this a nice building. I think it's going to look fantastic. So it's just hard to say. I didn't have that detail in my quick block SketchUp model, but when I was looking at the plans, I think maybe the top-down view might show it, but it is, there's a lot of setback to make it. It's not just a flat-faced building. There's some, there's some interest to the front of the building.
And I will say that there was a lot of community input back in 2015. And to make that facade look more interesting. So just for future reference, we can say we have a lot, at least 9 years ago, you could have a lot of influence over an architectural rendering.
I'm going to try to quickly share my screen so you can see. I have a little bit of get this up here. Just zooming in on Exhibit 7. And I think this is the existing sidewalk. So there's even a setback from the sidewalk. And then the building looks like this, entry walkway. So there is some interest, and there's your home right there, Emily. So, you know, it's nice. Instead of like a lot of developers would just do a flat front building here, this is, you know, this will look very nice. So, all right. Okay, well, we don't have anything else on the agenda, so I don't want to be respectful of folks' time. I'm going to call, unless there's any other objections, I'm going to let folks off. Thanks again for everyone attending the meeting and answering good questions. Commissioners Roblin and Arbuckle, if you can, you know, let the other commissioners know that, you know, you guys are in support of this project, and, you know, maybe it gets on the consent calendar or it just becomes a brief presentation next month. I'll leave it up to you guys. So with that,
thank you all.
I'm going
Thank you
to
so
sign
much.
off. Hope everyone has a great month. Cheers,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.